Okay, right here is a 1975 Koehring 1066D. Now this one's still being used to mine anthracite here in Pennsylvania. And as you can see, for her age, she's pretty old, worn and rusted. You know, a lot of people think that just because the machine is rusted like this that it's basically junk. You know, as long as the machine runs well, it's maintained well, it's properly serviced, it could be old and worn like this, but it could run like a champ. And this one here is, for her age, she still has a lot of life in it. You can see right here where it still says 1066 and the small D on it. The tracks on the 1066D, as you can see, are real wide to spread the weight of the machine. Now this is a third run 1066. The first one that Koehring released was a model 1066, then they released a 1066C, then a D model, then the last one was an E, then it was replaced by the 1166. Now the boom on this one, Koehring had 3 boom options for the customer. First was a mass excavator boom, which boom was shorter, the stick was shorter. This is what's called a straight boom. Standard long digging boom and a shorter stick. Then Koehring also had what was called a sewer boom, which was, the boom was even longer than this and the stick was a little bit longer on it too, to dig real deep for basically sewer work. The excavator itself is about the size of a Cat 245. It's a decent sized excavator. As you can see, the bucket on it is narrow too, not only to dig in the coal veins, but when you have a long excavator boom like this, the bucket on the end has to be a little bit smaller. If it were a larger bucket, not that the cylinders couldn't handle the weight of the bucket, the rear of the machine would want to tip forward if you had the bucket all the way out and you were digging. But here you can see, here's your linkage and your dog bone right here. And the cylinder to work the bucket, you can see that is one big cylinder with an auxiliary that comes down and the stick itself. Boom. Now the cab is somewhat open. The doors on the old 1066D slid, and that was one of the biggest problems that a lot of operators had. The doors get jammed a lot, and the door here is a pain in the neck to open, so I'm not going to try to open it, just show you from right in here. Here you can see, here's the operator's, the seat right there, and the controls to work it. Notice the controls are really different compared to any other excavator. I honestly have no idea how the setup on this machine is to run it. And the foot pedals down there. Notice that the cab too is very narrow on the machine. And right over there, that's basically for your hydraulic system right there. You can see the machine's been well greased. Walkway to get over to service the engine. You'll see that the counterweight is doubled up. For when you're working with a long boom like this, if it were a mass boom, you'd really only need one counterweight, but because the machine is digging anthracite and has the longer boom, there's basically 2 counterweights bolted together here to give the machine more strength in the rear. You can see where it says Koehring, and underneath the undercarriage on it. Right back in here is your hydraulic pumps and your engine. The engine on a 1066D is a Detroit 8V T92. So you can imagine this machine is pretty loud when it's running. This compartment right here is basically to get at to check your fluid levels. You can see right there the chart showing the machine. Now we'll go up and I'll show you up on deck here. That's your fluid tank right down there for your fuel. And you can see here's basically your hoses going out to your boom and your hydraulic system. Those 2 doors right there open up to service the engine. Your 2 exhaust ports there and 2 air intakes. And as you can see, new air horns on her. And as I said, this 1066D still runs. They use it a lot. So I will have in-action vids of this machine working. But there it is, a 1975 1066D. It's really a machine that you don't see much of anymore. The E models are pretty popular. You still see some of them on construction sites, but you rarely see the Ds anymore.